Alright, yay. Tier list, one more time. Once more for the season. I've been saying this a bunch, but my expectations is that the end of season 2 will be Evo, and they'll do something where they'll be like, congratulations, person who won Evo. That's great. We're happy for you. By the way, here's the first character of season 3, and also season 3's out, and also the new character's out. All at the same time, right? So that's my expectation. So I'm doing this now. The last one I made was after Arc Revo. The one before that, I think, was at the end of the previous patch. So in December, I made one before they made a new patch. So a couple things. One, my opinions have definitely changed since March. Two, this will include Bedman, because I don't think Bedman was out when I made the last one. And Asuka's been out for a month, so unlike my normal I don't know, I will be actually putting all the characters here. Okay, so let's do it real quick. You may remember that I no longer use letters because I hate arguing about what the letters mean in a tier list. Before I actually put the characters in spots, I will define what I mean. So GOAT activity means these are the characters. GOAT activity is meta, basically. They're the meta characters. These are the characters you expect to see the most. These are the characters you have the highest chance of winning large events alone. So you don't need a second character. In older fighting games, people would just stick to one character, but in modern fighting games, it's more common for people to play more than one character. So being able to just play one character and have a good chance of winning is a really big advantage because it's just less stuff you have to learn overall, right? Like you don't have to learn things with two characters, you can just learn things with one. Great chance to win are characters that it's a couple of things. So one, they can win and are not meta, or two, they're pretty good, but maybe they just have like a couple of bad matchups that would make it hard for them to win a tournament solo, but that doesn't mean that it couldn't happen, right? Bracket ruiner. So a lot of people ask me to define this. It's basically a character that's good but doesn't have that high of a chance to win an event solo. It would be pretty hard. It would take a combination of very high skill and also some luck as far as like what characters you run into. What's much more likely is that these characters can ruin your fucking day. So you would run into them, and usually, of course, these characters would not be considered meta characters because they don't have a high chance of winning necessarily. And when I say winning, we're talking about the whole thing, not just being able to win a set or some games or whatever, right? So what these characters are best at in a tournament perspective is that if you underrate them for some reason, or if you're not prepared for them, they will instantly maul you. And honestly, they make good runs, but again, it's just unlikely they will win because they just have like some matchup things to a greater extreme than the tier above them. And then last is niche support. So generally, I used to call these niche characters, but what I mean is niche/niche support is either the character is from a macro perspective only really useful for doing a couple things, like a super niche counter pick against like a meta character, or the character themselves are good, but it would make your life way easier in bracket to just play another character with them, which inherently shows them as flawed compared to the other characters, because we're thinking about what are the best chances of being able to win with just one character. Okay, not ordered, by the way. We'll just say that right now. If I was to try, I can try to order this, actually. Okay, this is it. I was trolling. I will go and say that the first two tiers are ordered, but the next two tiers are not. I'll go explain why later. Let's go from bottom to top. I would say Go Activity and Great Chance to Win. I ordered it. Where I think the bottom two tiers I can't order. Like I just tried to be like, aren't these guys like slightly better? And then I started thinking everybody was, and I was like, all right. all right. So we'll start from the bottom. So need support again. These are characters that either, when I say niche, it means that they are like spicy counter picks or rare counter picks. It's like, for example, how people say like Sin beats Baiken. For example, it would be like an example of like, most people think Sin sucks, but also people think, oh, Sin beats Baiken though. Or another way of looking at them is they're fine Because again, in modern fighting games, one of the main things is that it's not the weakest characters are too weak, is that the strongest characters are just stronger, right? So in order to fix this from a tournament perspective, you can do one of two things. You can either just keep banging your head on the wall anyway, or you could learn another character to help with matchups. Some people would be like, that's a waste of time and you should switch characters, but you could actually like Potemkin. You could actually like the Bed. You can actually like Sin, right? So it's up to you how you wanna do it. Again, this tier is not in order. So Potemkin first. So Potemkin, he has a he doesn't actually, he's pretty interesting. He doesn't have a lot of problems. The problems is his few problems are massive. Okay, so like on paper he doesn't really, even besides like movement stuff, he doesn't really have a lot of cons. The thing is, the cons just matter so fucking much and affect his games a lot. So for example, his main problems in my head, let's talk about the good things first. The good things is he has a lot of life, which is good. He does a shit ton of damage, which is good. He is extremely scrubby with meter. He's super powerful with meter, and he does have a clear strong win con, which is I would say cornering when the game came out, but he doesn't necessarily have to corner you. He just has to make you block guard at impact, and then he's in his strongest situation. Now the downsides are he is only good mid to late game, which means like in early game, which is like, you know, round start or you're playing for like 20 seconds or so, he's kind of meh unless he gets like a really good hit or just corners you really fast, right? Once he gets 50 meter, he's definitely really strong, but he has to get there, and the thing is he can get win conned before he gets that unless he is winning by a lot or he gambles on gold burst or the game just like stretches out for a long time. Also, a lot of his good stuff is pretty committal and has flaws. So like Mega Fist is a good move but has flaws that could be abused. Slide Head, a good move, has flaws that could be abused. So these combination of things combined with him having the standard like he can't run, he can't air dash type stuff, so you can like box him. And how many characters are good at being either like fast or they are like a mid-screen or further away zoning character that goes into set play, that kind of makes him struggle. Like there's just, his main thing is that people can just win con him really fast before he gets a chance to get started. But when he does get started, he looks extremely strong and he kills you fast. Then there's Sin. So Sin similarly has he's a little similar to Potemkin in this. I don't think Sin is very strong when the game starts. His resource like matters in that like he needs it to do stuff, but it doesn't make him like run you over. He's at his strong, like Potemkin, he's at his strongest when he has 50 meter, because when he has 50 meter, now you get card cancel super, you get the great corner carry. He's really good when he breaks the wall. Then like his offense becomes significantly better, like hoof stomp becomes scarier and all that stuff. When he's in your face and rushing you down, he's actually pretty good at dispensing mids. He's got unique frame data. He's able to attack from a pretty safe range and like bully you with normals and stuff. And he has ways of like altering his movement, going under stuff, things like that. Again, it's just similar to Potemkin. It just takes too long for him to start, and he doesn't have a win con that's not strike throw. It's like strike throw plus I have 50 meters, so goodbye. Where other characters can just access their win cons faster, in my opinion. Then Bedman. So Bedman has a pretty annoying like neutral game, because his whole thing is the automatic follow-up to special moves acting, and then how strong his offense is, especially when he has meter. But again, I think it's a similar case of it just takes too long to get started, and like Sin, because Sin also has frame data problems. Bedman has some frame data problems because they're just scared of you looping like guard crush stuff and mixing over and over and over. He can get to that point, but he needs meter to do so. And his other stuff, while it's fine, it's just not enough threat and takes too long. Then there's the Bracket Ruiner Plus. So I had this at Bracket Ruiner, but then I was like, some of these characters are like Bracket Ruiner Plus. And then when I looked at all of them, I'm like, I guess they're all Bracket Ruiner Plus. So here we are, right? I explained it before. These are characters that are certainly good characters, but it would be difficult for you to win a tournament with them solo. It can happen. You definitely need like the God bracket run and some good matchups, like in your way too. But they all also will really, really fuck you up if you underrate any of these characters and you're not prepared for these characters, right? So we'll start with Anji. And this is not ordered also. This is not really, really ordered at all. We'll start with Anji. So Anji got the glow up this patch. I'm already ready for some person to say, oh my god, okay, put Anji like bottom 4 and he's calling him good. He's good. This character is good. His main weakness is how committal he is. Like, a lot of his moves have him sticking out for a long time. So it's not easy for him to like flail and win, like just like stick stuff out and win. However, he's pretty tanky. I think he's like top 5 or top 6 HP in the game. He's got like a lot of guts. He's very, very tanky. He's extremely good with resource, and he's very good at countering people. So he's actually, like, a high level Anji is actually way more about waiting than like pushing, if that makes sense. A lot of people are like, oh, Anji's gorilla, lol. Oh, spin to win, lol. But what actually makes Anji really hard to fight, especially if you're not prepared for him, is that for a lot of matchups, their strategy is countering you instead of just like rushing you down and trying to get resources through that way. And when he plays like a counterpoke style, he's much better at converting compared to before when he released. So he can corner carry pretty well. He's got situationally good Okizeme, really good at building your risk gauge, and if he combos you, like, you're gonna take a ton of damage, and a lot of times with Anji too, you just have this feeling as the high HP characters of, how is this not over yet? You know what I mean? How is this not over yet? How is he not dead yet? So he gets more chances to take risks and stuff, which I think is pretty good. Then you have Millia, my original main in the game. So my opinion of her is slightly up this patch. Basically, what I think they're really committing to is, like, if you think about more classic Millia, so like Exert and XX, basically Millia, what she used to be, is like, she's like a super mid-range character. So most people are like, oh, she's a pixie, which means like a character that's very fast, that's really hard to catch. But they gave Millia a lot of moves that a character like that doesn't really have business having, right? So a classic test is, if you ask like an Exert or XX player if they think Millia's far slash is a good move or not, if they say, oh, it's not that good, you know, it's just like whatever poke, they're not that good at the game. Like, that move's broken as fuck, sweep's broken as fuck, pin's broken as fuck. She just has a bunch of like crazy neutral tools on top of being fast and having like that backdash and blah blah blah. So I think in this game, they don't want her to be like that, and they want her to be more of like a hit and run type character. Like, definitely the most success I had in my later time of playing Millia is playing like hit and run, which is not, for me at least, not that fun. But she can definitely win con you. So right now, there's a bunch of characters that if you don't have a reversal and you have a certain amount of HP, she can kill you in like 3 guesses, which is like, for Millia, that's like really good. Like, sometimes she generally doesn't do a lot of damage, depending on version. So being able to kill in guesses quick is a really good thing. Of course, she's really fast. Her conversion ability is better than it's ever been in the game. And when she has meter, her mix-up is out of control. So she kind of has a mix of like, she starts pretty strong, but her strike throw game is not that scary, but then she's good with resource and she can win con you. I feel like they're conflicted of where they want her to end up being, so they're erring on the cautious side. But right now, I think she definitely has her place in tournaments because, like, I think she has like some pretty interesting matchups. Like, she's good against Mei. She fights Bridget pretty well. She fights Sol pretty decently. She fights Ram right now pretty well. She's much better against Nago than she used to be. She's usually good against Jacko in this game. Like, she has like a much better matchup spread than she did in previous patches. So I actually have a pretty good opinion of her in bracket right now. And if you're interested in playing Millia, she's a great counterpick character. Like, a really, really good counterpick character right now. If you're maining Millia, your main issues in NA is just like Leo is the Eternal, so just eventually you're going to run into him. He's coming for you. He's coming for you no matter what. That's pretty much it for her. Like, she this is like the first patch where I would say I don't really think she needs anything. Like, right now, I think she has a pretty complete and pretty fair toolkit. And then we have Ino. So Ino took a hardy nerf that people don't like. Which is the H stroke, right? But right now, I think she's really mobile. She is very good at snowballing. She has very strong mix-up situations. She is amazing with meter. I think, unlike like the tier below her, because the difference between her and like Bedman or something is that she can act really well in early game because, you know, she has 2k 2d, she's mobile and things like that. If she throws you, she gets to win con you. So really her thing is just that because of how she moves around the screen, her matchups are pretty polarizing. And despite the strength of her Oki and like mix-ups, they are some of the most interactable offense in the game of that style with the lowest return. We're gonna revisit this idea a couple of times because a couple of characters have this thing of they have extremely strong offense, but they also like you can technically interact with it, but the risk is so high that people are really scared to do it. Where generally there's not a lot to discourage a person from fighting back besides when she has resource, which she doesn't get right away. With meter, she's a meme. By the way, with meter, she's a meme. She has like stroke, she has the dive, she has cycle crusher, she has air dash super. She's just super good after a gold burst or having 50 meter in general. So her mid late game really strong. Her early game, good. It's really just about neutral, I think, for some characters because she can. Her movement is Camille. Then we have Faust. I hate Faust, but he's again in a pretty good spot, I want to say. They buffed. The main thing is, again, they buffed conversions. I know the number one complaint for Faust players has been about conversion ability, and they buffed his conversion ability again. I think that helps him out a lot. His main flaw, his main weakness right now is that he has really good pokes and really good walk speed and good neutral control, but everything's a minus. So characters that are fast fuck him up really bad, but also characters that are good at like boxing you in are also good against him because they're going to just run at him, and he doesn't have a lot of like threatening things that aren't like if an item's not on a screen and a good item like mini Faust or meteors or something, then people are kind of like, all right, whatever, I'm gonna dash walk at you. And usually the response from Faust players is to run at people and do more aggressive things, so like run up throw and stuff like that. But once you start doing that, then you take away the advantages of his good neutral and being able to crawl under stuff. So I think that's probably his biggest issue. I also want to say he definitely has problems with basically every single top character in the game. Where, like, for example, I think Millia, again, does like pretty good against Bay, pretty good against Bridget. I correct me if I'm wrong, Faust players. I think he loses to every single character I have in my top tier, except Bridget. Maybe except Bridget. Then we have Testament. So Testament, in my head, the reason why I wanted to make 2 bracket ruiner tiers was because in my head, Testament is the definitive mid tier of the game. The true middle character of the game is Testament, I think. And like, basically in my head, the game is balanced around Testament right now. If that makes sense. Hear me out. So Testament is not technically good early game, but can win con you. Is good mid and late game, but doesn't need meter to win. Okay, if you look at the game from that perspective, it's like Testament is the middle of everything, right? So good neutral control, you got the fireballs, anti-air fireball, stain, good at building meter, good mix-ups, JH mix-ups, right? JHJD, JH2K, along with teleport gimmicks. There's also succubus stuff if you have the meter. The cash out ability, even though it's again, I was told by Testament combo monsters that the cash out ability is slightly down compared to previous patches, but still is good at doing it between stain and having resource, like 50 meter. So if there's anything that is basically keeping this character down, is that like it seems like they're just average at each phase of the game, and that their neutral is like, no matter what they do, their game plan involves 2 steps, where other characters it doesn't. And it's usually either do something, get stain, or get meter, force stain. Getting meter, like once you have meter, you can force it, but you have to get the meter first. Then we have Goldlewis Dickinson. So in the previous patch, people basically had this character as like the sleeper top tier. But most people, their opinion of this character is down because of drone and what the old drone that didn't go away on hit used to do. I think they made Goldlewis with ruining brackets in mind, basically. So he is really, really good at mid-range because he has advancing far slash, and then JD, that's basically instant. He's got like 684, he's got drone. So you have to constantly watch for options all the time. All his shit's everything he does knocks down. Everything he does a lot of damage. He's a character, this is something we're going to be revisiting, because we talked about Ino. He's a character who his offense is interactable, and what I mean is, he has my favorite mechanic in the video game, Guard Crush, but it's not like perfect, you know, like this counterplay to all his Guard Crush moves and stuff. So what ends up happening is you do the passive options to try to like minimize chip damage, get him off you, while also trying to sneak in escape opportunities like backdash, mashing, 6p, jumping, depending on like what's going on. And he has to try to call you out. If he calls you out, goodbye, you're dead. You're gonna take a ton of damage. If you pick nothing, he can get really big return by using like his either mix-up tools like his 8 behemoths, or he can use the 4 behemoths to get a lot of frame advantage. So he has stuff that makes you be like, hey, if you pick nothing, I'm gonna go ham. And of course, if you block a lot, you know, it's Guilty Gear, so the more risk you have, the more damage he takes, and you're going to die if that happens. Now, the main thing is that despite his good neutral tools, he does get boxed pretty hard because he's not fast. Everyone tries to pretend he's fast. Every Goldlewis player is trying to fly around the screen, pretending to be Chipp and Millia. But in the end, he is Goldlewis, so he is not actually that fast. And because of his slow jump and no double jump, he has like super jump. It's not too difficult to box him. He's good at enduring, but you can really just box him, keep him at the range you want, and act from that range, right? That being said, he in my head, he's like the classic poster boy of like someone didn't practice against Goldlewis. You play a Goldlewis player in tournament, they just beam you, you don't know what's going on. Like he's like the original poster boy. Someone from Exert told me that they play him because they pretty much pretend he's Slayer, and I kind of feel that. Then we have Axl. Axl has always kind of hung around in like the middle lower side of the game, and I think he shows the bracket ruiner concept so well since the beginning because he's always just been a good counterpick character. I played him as a counterpick character actually in season 1 to counterpick Potemkin, Leo, White Fang, and Nagoriyuki. You know, like heavy characters. I was looking for a heavy counterpick. He is a normals zoner, so he uses his normals to control space, which makes him really, really good against some characters and struggle bus against other characters. So the classic ones will always be like, you know, like Chipp or Giovanna or Ramlethal, but then like he is fighting against Goldlewis. Nago players don't like fighting him. Faust players don't like fighting him. So he's always kind of like held that balance of like he has really, really good matchups and like really, really bad matchups. The main difference in this version is that his conversion ability is out of control. Like one of his big flaws for a long time was just that he just rarely did damage, where now he does way, way, way more damage. So now even a character like Axl killing you in 4 hits is bad, let alone 3. So that I think really helped out his game because by him being able to convert more, that means he builds resource more and faster, which means he's more threatening, which means he gets to threaten time stop more and all this stuff. So all that stuff's like pretty good. And then we have Kyle. Kyle. I have heard whispers of Kyle being top tier from top NA players. I'm not quite there yet, not gonna lie, because I do think this character has flaws. He has strengths, he has flaws. So then let's talk about what's good about Kyle. One thing, and it's probably maybe one of the new LK-isms, like the old LK-ism that I have put in the dumpster, is losing on your own offense. So one of my current LK-isms is being able to attack from any range. So that is probably the thing he is the best at. The reason why this matters is twofold. One is the shock state. So the fact that he can apply shock state to you from any range is good, right? He gets conversions he doesn't get normally in shock state. He gets more frame advantage. That stuff is good, right? But the other reason, and the more important reason, to be quite frank, is that he's building meter from every range too. So all those fireballs you're dash blocking into, like each one of them, it's not just shock state, it's also that he's building meter each time. So he can out resource characters really, really hard if they're not good at addressing his full screen and mid-range game. And if you get Shock State applied a lot, his defense is actually better because there will be opportunities for him to combo off HTP. He does way more damage than normal. He's going to build a bunch of meter doing that too and reapply Shock State. And in neutral, he has just a ton of neutral skips. He's got like Food Arc, he's got Stun Dipper, he can alter his air momentum with JD and punish you. So he's able to play a really flexible, open-ended game from all ranges while getting resource and applying his strong situation at the same time. All that stuff's really good. If I have to talk about flaws, is actually right now the biggest one to me is that it's 2 steps. So while he's able to do this, the thing is you have to block them. So the thing is, there are characters in this game that have all sorts of rule-breaking shit. So, for example, like, okay, Stun Edge is strong, builds meter, applies Shock State. Zato can reflect it. Baiken can JD over it. Nago can shoot a clone. Asuka's gonna do Shadow Wizard Money Gang shit to you from full screen while doing ninjutsu signs on you and shit. The Jacko minions kill projectile. There's a bunch of shit that kills it. So he has to actually apply these things to you to get it started. That being said, I think he's good at it, and it definitely helps that he's fast too, so he's able to move in and out of ranges when he wants, which I think is pretty good. You can't box him, which is very good, but another thing is, while I think he's good at fighting his way out the corner, I don't think he fights it out. I don't think he fights out the corner with reward easily. Like, he's not also getting like big damage, or some characters would. Okay, so then we have great chance to win. So once we get to here, this is kind of ordered. I want to say maybe up to like Baiken, Nago, Asuka, Jacko, I basically all rate the same, I guess. But the Soul, Geo, Ram, and Zato, like, they're definitely in order. I'll start with Jacko. So Jacko is another, her highs are high and her lows are low. One of the biggest things they did to her is that because remember, I was an early adopter to Jacko hate, by the way, as usual, trendsetter LK, I was a very early adopter to Jacko is fucked up. I've been saying that since season 1. And even knowing that her main flaw in season 1 is that she's more of a mid to late game character because they don't give her entire resource at the start of the round, I was still like, she's fucked up. Now, the main fix, even though they've given her other fixes, is that she has all her resources immediately, and you can see how much that plus other changes have affected her game. So she starts really strong, really early. She can definitely win con you. My current feeling about her main weakness, so there's one obvious one, there's a subtle one. One is that she is kind of a setup character, so if you're playing, she has polarizing matchups because of that. Because she is kind of 2-step of, she has to set the, even if the shit is like instant, right? She has to set the minion and then do shit with it, like hit it, kick it, throw it at you, whatever. So if you're playing a character like Axl or HC or just somebody that can attack in big ranges fast with big buttons, then it's gonna be a problem for Jacko. But the more quiet, subtle thing is that she's not good at fighting out of the corner very well. Low key, she's pretty stubby. Like, her normals are pretty stubby if you think about it. While she has like broken ass kicks and stuff, like her 2K is fucking broken as hell, 5K is really good. She doesn't, unlike a lot of characters, she doesn't really have big buttons. Her main annoying buttons are 2K with the broken ass low profile, 5H, which is traveling, she goes into you, so it covers a lot of range, but she goes into you. 2D covers a lot of range, goes into you. So this combined with her dash jump not going very far makes it really easy to box her. Once you actually like get her near the corner, it's very easy to box her, and she dies fast. And it's not a bad thing to die fast in this game, because if you're broken enough, who cares? But it doesn't help your case, and not being able to escape situations is not very good, and her reversal sucks. Just the grab super is pretty weak for reversal super as well. So I basically say those are like her main problems. But outside of that, she obviously has like a really good chance to win. She has basically some of the best anti-zoning in the game since they leveled up the clash level of the minions. And she has like neutral structures that just gets you in from full screen and allow you to play your own pressure game. She has good mix-ups. She could chip you out, all that stuff. So then you have Asuka. So Asuka, I think he is good. There are top ending players I've talked to who think he is top tier. I'm not really there, but I could see the reasoning why. But I just don't think so. What's good about him is that he's able to attack from all ranges and unusual ranges depending on what cards he has. Even though it's situational, you get 4 slots and everything is plus and shit. So like he's chilling. There are characters who are good at fighting his standard zoning. So funny enough, like characters like Ino and Kyle, like they're good at fighting like his standard way of playing neutral. Like most people like are on the ground, they're shooting, but this type of character always leans himself to development, right? So there's counterplay for all this stuff. Ino, to be fair, is pretty annoying to deal with, but Kyle, he has a bunch of counterplay against like stun edge and charge stun edge and stuff like that. So that's one really strong thing about him. 2, he builds so much he builds meter so fast. Like he doesn't build meter from like a ton of meter from combos and mix-ups, but he builds so much from block strings and neutral that he just like is dumping meter all the time. And I think the combinations of these two things make him really strong, because in theory he should be a late game character, but early game, the test case 1, his best conversion ability is test case 1. Test case 3 technically also is about the same as test case 1, but test case 1 gives him the most water cubes and the most explosions, and he can combo jabs into that shit, right? So he has like situational again, but able to basically combo as long as he wants, as long as he keeps drawing the right cards. So his conversion ability is really good there, and since everything's really plus, he can build meter and change test cases at will, so he can create the situation that he needs to win, which is one of the main ones I've seen people go for is test case 3, bookmark super, get the infinite mana card and a couple of meme cards, and then go from there. On top of that too, he has a lot of moves with unique properties, like his 2D and stuff. So he has a lot of unique ways of baiting universal system mechanics like YRC and stuff. So all these things just make it pretty hard to fight him. In my head, I think his main problem is like if he runs out of mana, he dies. But that's not even you can manage mana, and he basically has the most HP. He has the most HP literally, but once he runs out of mana, he has the worst HP by far. But if you manage it well, it's fine. It's not that hard to manage. And just fast characters, the characters getting on his ass, and he can't get out. It's really hard for him to fight out a pressure too. His dash jump is actually quite good, but unless he has certain cards, he doesn't get mashing into reward, and it's easy-ish to box him at that range. So then we have Nago, how the mighty have fallen. In the previous patch, I thought he was the best character in the game, just straight up the best character in the game. Quite frankly, it is just 2 things have made him go from number 1 to basically like tied for 10th, like 7th to 10th, right? One is the nerf to 2S, so his 2S went from being -5 to -11. So -11 means it's basically straight up punishable by a lot of stuff. Of course, he could cancel and protect himself, but it's very punishable, and it's much harder for him to do 2S on, not only 2S on whiff, but 2S on block into recover into another button. So that's one big flaw. The other one is the more resources he uses, the more damage he takes. So a lot of what would happen in previous patches is Nago players would go ham, they'd use a bunch of resource, and they go, oh, I have no resource, but who gives a fuck, and they just start swinging, and they just keep taking risks anyway, because they don't die. But now they die. And that's it. That's literally it. That's all they changed. He still has all the same strengths, right? He still has the neutral control, he's still hyper explosive, great round start, great conversion abilities. It really is just he dies faster, and 2S is just not as good. It's really just 2 things. Like, I don't have to talk about him that much, I feel like. And what that means is matchups that people are always like, like my character does do good against Nago, he just doesn't die. Now they're like smiles. So for example, Millia is the classic. Like right now, I think Millia Nago is basically even, or maybe like slightly Millia favored, because if Nago burns his resource, Millia kills him like 3 guesses, 2-3 guesses now. Or Baiken Nago, which I thought was like just like, oh my god, how the fuck are we supposed to win this? Now I'm like, isn't this even? Like, you know, because again, he just dies fast now. Like I can win con him and kill him in 2 guesses. So that That's it. Yeah, he just dies fast now. Is really what we need. Is really what we need. Even my most hated character in this game, Leo Whitefang. I would watch Leo versus Nago, and I'm like, bro, Leo actually has to hit him like 7 times to win. That's crazy. It doesn't happen anymore. Then we have Mama, Baiken Mama. So recently I have heard from top NA players that most of them, their opinion of Baiken is not that high right now, and they think she's kind of mid / kind of a bracket ruiner. I do not agree. I think she's a top 10 character. I think she's really, really good. I've been trying really hard. Basically, at this point, it's been almost a year. It's been 11 months. It's July 8th, so it's been 11 months since I picked up this character. She is basically good at every phase of the game. She has a shit ton of defensive tech. So one of the biggest things about Baiken dropping is that, like, people from old games where, like, they ruined Baiken. She's not the defense monster we're used to. You know, where's the zombie? Where's guard cancels? They don't know how to make characters, blah, blah, blah. What I have discovered in my time playing this character is that they very cleverly actually did make her a defense character. They just did it a different way, where because of the parry, and they fucked up this patch, and now it's 7 frames active, not 6. Thank you, Arxis. Please leave that. That's a feature, not a bug. She has a slew of special defensive options that are all enabled by this number. Even the original number is 6 frames. The backdashes with the most invincibility in the game also are 6 frames invincible. Right? They're also 6 frames invincible. So this magic number enables a lot of things. It enables mashing, it enables backdashing, it enables fuzzy jumping, it enables throwing, it enables a bunch of different defensive options, and it extrapolates further between her super being 8+1, so she does have super PRC as an option to layer. She has parry PRC, which is a unique option, but it's not as strong in my opinion as parry super. She can car cancel her parry into super, so she just has a lot of options that all kind of involve in different groups, that it's just like very few characters can actually cover all of her defensive options all the time. So as far as I'm concerned, like, she does have uniquely strong defense in this game. She, of course, has all the mix-ups that we've been seeing between, she has the best throw in the game, for example. She has a lot of situational mix-ups, which are really nice. Her meter gain is pretty good. Frankly, her biggest actual true flaw is her conversion ability is bad. And because her conversion ability is not great, the big thing being, I know some people say boohoo, but I think it's a big deal in this game, considering what characters we think are good or top tier. She has like a lot of really good pokes that don't convert unless you hit counter hit or crouching, like far slash and things like that. And outside of people gambling too hard on defense, just like using the parry like too liberally and gambling without considering risk return on defense, this is the other reason why people say she's not consistent, because she's not consistently landing hits into good situations, unless it's like, because Zato's right next to her, right? So Zato's the type of character that, like, if you swing into Zato, you're probably getting a counter hit just because of the type of character he is. You might have hit a summon or a poke or a 2S or something, where if you're playing against like a Soul or a Kyle, they might like dash block into you, and then you have the Faust problem of all your shit is minus, and you're like, what do I do? The good news is she does have stuff that you can do to fight these things. It's just like unorthodox. It's like out of the box type responses that you need. But I think those are the things that basically keep her in the game, right? But yeah, like I was saying, she does have things to accommodate for that. So I think it's fine. So it really is just that, like, I think no matter what, it will take a long time for people to build out Baiken, because the classic reason is, where are we supposed to use this defense stuff and how do we make it strong and annoying? I feel that for her in this game, but also since they got rid of a lot of her special moves and stuff, because she's actually a character that just had like a ton of special moves with situational usage, where in this game she has like 4. She's got parry, Yozansen, Tatami Gaishi, HNS Kabane. What it's turned into is like, what can we use these moves for, basically? And there's just a ton of, between like Tatami and Yozansen alone, they both have like, Tatami has got, I want to say like 5 different use cases, and Yozansen has like 9 or 10. Like, this she just has like way more subtle uses for moves than people give her credit for. So I at this point I just think no matter what, like if Baiken comes in a new game, the main challenge is gonna be what do you use her kit for. Even when they give her a simple kit, there's still like just a lot of stuff to draw from the character. And then we have Zato. I'm very conflicted on Zato because like low key he's pretty broken, but then also like he's not. You know what I mean? Like right now the thing I think that keeps him down is matchups. You just have to give it to them that he has a bunch of bad matchups. Like when I look at the characters that I have above him, like Chipp, Mei, HC, Bridget, most people say Soul beats Zato, and then Ram. I think all those characters beat Zato, and I also think Baiken slightly beats Zato. On top of that, and then I think Jacko beats Zato, also. So there's a lot of characters that like technically beat Zato. The main thing is that his neutral and offense are just fucking out of control. They're really, really out of control, and he's really, really, really good at building meter. He is actually one of the examples of people do have to learn the matchup better, I think. If you think he's, like, broken, like capital B, it's probably you don't know the matchup well enough, but the good news is there's mad people who are good against him, and you just watch them. He is one of those, he has a shit ton of knowledge checks, and you need to know specifically what to do, and if you do know what to do, then you make it a pain in the ass for him. If you don't know what to do, you die. But there's so many, and since he is a more complex character to keep coming up with new ones, that you're just like, what the fuck are you supposed to do? By design, his character is just good, honestly. He dies fast, no defense, classic stuff, and then also he doesn't convert very well, especially since, like, if we're saying that like one of Baiken's flaws is not converting well, then Zato also has that. So and then he also doesn't consistently convert on counter hits sometimes. Also, as far as I'm concerned, sometimes I see it, I'm like it looks random when things work. Outside of if he hits a crouching counter hit, those combos seem to be pretty consistent. But sometimes when standing counter hit, you're like this didn't work that time. Like why? But that's pretty much it for him. Like he's good in neutral, he's good in offense, defense not great, meter gain really really good. I mean, honestly, despite, you know, he's good in the game and he's good in tournaments, but his matchup spread is all over the place. But because of the type of character he is, he can endure. Okay. Then Ram. So this is probably the lowest I've ever rated Ram, and I still have her in top 10. Top 10 in my head is like, oh, you could definitely just win tournaments with this character. And funny enough, Ram is doing the best she's ever had in the game, despite being, I think, the weakest she's ever been. That happens sometimes, where like the character comes out in a new game, and the character's broken, and the character's so like super good. They're so good that the people who play her are not good enough for the character, you know what I mean? But then over time, and they fight through nerfs, and then they improve, and then now they just like have this complete package. So Ram, you know, she's really fast. She's one of the fast characters in the game. Great buttons, lots of disjoint, great pressure. She also has a consistency problem as far as conversions, where a lot of her mid-screen combos either end in a not good knockdown or a standing reset, or maybe nothing, depending on what happens. But once she gets your back to the wall or in your corner, she converts really well. She converts from jumping really well, which is a strength and a weakness at the same time, because while she's very good at altering her air momentum, also anti-airing is really good in this game. Lots of people have good 6Ps, good air burst airs, air throws, fast characters, things like that. There's a lot of fast characters that force her to pull up and use like kicks and stuff, but overall she is like one of the classic, like, your character just loses to Ram by default, classic high damage characters. Her damage is way down. I mean, there's clips. We have clips of people doing meme damage of Ram. She's always going to do a lot of damage. But it's funny that you can still look at her and say she does a lot of damage. And still, her damage is down compared to the previous patches, for sure. Then we have Geo. I will not let the Geo allegations continue. This character is good. I mean, at this point, you should all know too, because she performs really well. The main thing is that she just doesn't perform well in our region. In my head, the best Geo players are all like from the Asia region, right? They're all from the Asia region. Really, really good. The main thing is just like she's just a whiff punish god. Like she's so fast. She has a teleport. She has mad damage. The board meter she builds, the board defense she has, and she does chip damage. She does have good mix-ups. Situational mix-ups. She combos off everything. And her pressure is good and fast, so she forces you to make choices fast, and if you're wrong, you die. Frankly, I don't really like, she's the first character that I'm like, what actually is her weakness? It's more, it's in my head. It's more that she just doesn't hyper excel at anything. You know, like she doesn't really have any weaknesses, and also she's not like hard to execute with, which is great in tournaments as well. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where her weakness is. When I think about it, I just don't have an answer. I'm like, well, I don't think she's top. She's top because I can't say she has like straight up busted stuff. But the stuff she's good at, she's really good at. And she just, I don't know. I don't know what her weakness is. I can't tell you, right? And like even when people say like, oh well, you know, like she doesn't mash into high damage, I'm like, well, she knocks you down off like 99% of her shit. So like I think it's cool for a character that converts basically everything to not do a shit ton of damage off every single conversion that they do, right? Just a thought, right? It's really just matchup stuff, I want to say, but even then, I would still say very few. Like who truly beats Giovanna would be an interesting discussion. Again, I mean, from here, like I said, this part is basically ordered in my head. Then we have Mr. Bad Guy himself, Mr. Soul Bad Guy, another character who I refuse to hear the allegations of him being a bad character. He is good as fuck. I think we've seen enough of him being good as fuck. And so there's only one thing I could say that is a flaw for him, but it doesn't count, by the way. It doesn't count. And the flaw would be that he has stubby normals, which is technically true, but fuck you for saying that. Fuck you if you say that. If you say Soul's weakness is that he has stubby normals, you can get the fuck out of here, bro. No. He needs to, because his far slash is plus. He needs to advance. If that shit was plus and he could attack from a safe range, that shit would be so stupid. So what is good about Soul? So Soul, it's a combination of things. So one, his neutral is good in that he has a tool for every situation. So he has a low profile, he's got 6p, he's got a far poke, he's got an advancing poke that's plus, he has neutral skips with meter, he can stall with bandit bringer in the air, he can also hop over moves with bandit bringer, that's just -2. So he has neutral moves for basically all, he has 6s, so he has neutral moves for all situations, that's one. He has good HP, so he doesn't die fast. He has good defense specifically, right? So he's got a 3 frame and a 4 frame and a 5 frame and a slow DP and a fast DP. So having a slow DP alone is not good, but having a slow and fast DP is actually good because sometimes it will fuck with your setups. It's actually a problem that Baiken has. I know Zato has this problem too against him, that like you can cover one but not the other type thing because of the speed difference. That stuff is good. It also means that he can fight left rights really well because he has OSDP on top of that. Then he also, his moves have a higher attack level than normal as well. So he builds risk really fast. He does a shit ton of damage. He converts really, really well. He basically converts all his shit. And he can convert into bombos from extremely far. And then, of course, even if he is losing in neutral to a character, he's always dashing into you for a chance to be plus, gaining meter the whole time, and looking for opportunities to take the game away between neutral skips, catching you one time. He's really good and positive. He's just overall, like, just good in every phase of the game, I think. They even went as far as, like, most people don't consider him a mix-up character, but he situationally has good left-rights, and of course a 50 beater. He has his bandit revolver mix-ups of all varieties. So I mean, I've thought he's strong basically since like November. Like I was kind of on the Soul's not that great for a while, and then we went to Korea and played Korean and Japanese Souls, and I was like, I was trolled for months. I can't believe it, and I'm just still on that path of I think Soul is just really strong. And then we have top tier. So these are the characters that I think are the absolute best chances for if your goal is to win tournaments. Not beat people, because beat people, you can pick any of these characters. Win tournaments, your character pool is much lower. I don't think you can go below Jacko, basically. And again, Jacko, it's not like she's the last person, like the weakest person in that group. I'm not saying that. Because I think like Jacko, Baiken, Nago, Asuka, they're all like same-ish strength. It's just like those 4 characters, you can't be weaker than Baiken or Nago or Asuka or Jacko and say that, I can probably win this like 100-man, 200-man major without like a tournament, I should say, without a little bracket luck involved, right? If you seriously either hate the game or you really want to win really bad, you need to pick one of these 5 characters, okay? So first, Bridget. What's so good about Bridget? So Bridget, actually, I'm gonna say stuff that I say about like Eggs or Millia, basically. It's like, she can do stuff at all ranges, and you have to guess between pokes or a backdash, or pokes and jumping, and if you pick wrong, she hits you. She has easy loopable mix-up that's basically impossible to fuck up. The mix-up safe jumps too, which is pretty nice. She's pretty good at building resource. She's just really mobile, and honestly, you're just playing her game, and if you're not like super prepared for her, then you basically have to win on defense, which really sucks because she's just rushing you down the whole time, and you have to study a lot of counterplay to her. She has a ton of knowledge checks that if you don't know, she just mauls you, and if you do know, you still aren't really out of the woods. It's just like slightly less annoying. So she's just good all around, because of those reasons, I think. And on top of her mobility stuff, because she also has good defense, because she's got a DP and the fast backdash, and she can bash into win cons. So all these things are pretty good, I want to say. Then you have HC. HC definitely had his patches where he was the best character in the game. Right now, I don't think I could say he is the best character in the game. I do think he's definitely top tier in major winning. So the main things, the thing that they did to make him basically possible to fight is they just make it, he uses more resources if he's farther away from you. So because of that, you can build pretty in-depth plans of how to like fight him, draw resources from him, and honestly, your main goal against him is to make it as hard as possible for him to curse you. You want him to spend his like 80% resource just to curse you, so that he could do the shit that he wants to do. So that's why, if you ever wonder, like when you watch Happy Chaos players play, why they're not just running away and shooting people nonstop, it's because they're like, this person is good at getting around curse, so I would just be like wasting resources basically. So I want to just make them block something, because I make them block something, I can do shot in the guard crush, and I can run up and then do what I want. He's got top class conversion ability, top class offense, and mix ups between roll and like jump, double shot, high low. His cross up shit with JD, his high lows with like J2K shot, jump PP or low. He's got a lot of like really good mix ups and stuff. He's got one of the best YRC situations in the game. He could just roll, right? Or not roll. He could like roll or throw you and stuff like that. So he still has like all the threat and control of before, but he's way more resource intensive. But it's still on his opponent for forcing him to be that way, which is still, I mean, it's top tier quality shit, right? So many top players in NA get a lot of flack for calling Mei. I mean, I'm not saying she's the best character in the game, by the way, but it's actually a pretty common take amongst top NA players that Mei is the best character in the game. I think she's top 3. This is actually in order. I think she's top 3. The main reason is that it's a little similar to Bridget, where like, but not like from anywhere, but like from like mid range, basically from like tip of dolphin range. You have to worry about dolphin and a move that beats like that can hit your 6p or go over your lowest 5k, and you have to worry about her jumping and all her weird jump angles, and she builds a lot of meter, and she does a lot of damage, and she builds a lot of risk. So she is fine in early game. She's fine and annoying in early game, great at counter poking, and then in mid-late game she's god, and she has just everything ends you immediately, and she cannot be fucked with. She just truly cannot be fucked with. Usually the excuse from salty mains is that she doesn't perform well, so why do everyone say she's good? But she's just in NA, she's not a common common character pick for tournaments. And then the next thing to say is that it's just Slash, but I think Mei performs better in Japan as well. You know, there's people like you out there who are doing really well with her. She's just not that common here, but I feel like you can't look at the tools that she has, like the close slash being like YRC save and also +3, and comboable command grab, and all her various left rights that she has, and corner steals and damage and stuff. You can't have all that stuff and then look at that character and be like, that character's not good. You know what I mean? Then we have Chipp. Chipp is probably the character that I think, outside of like my opinion on Millia and Ino, because like they didn't technically move very far, but I just think better of them. I think Chipp is the character that I probably have changed my opinion the most on out of any character. Where I just think right now, if there's a character I'm truly dooming over besides my normal Leo is Doom, it's actually Chipp. Chipp is fucking ridiculous, man. Chipp is insane. So the main thing they changed about Chipp is that his conversion ability is better against crouching opponents. So why does that matter so much? One of his classic weaknesses is that he's got like broken ass pokes, but they're all weak to like 2Ks, and their characters like HC and Leo and stuff, and even Geo, who are really good at converting their crouching kicks, like low kick. Millia too, actually. That's how you would classically do Millia, Chipp, and Strive, is you run around and just 2K him, right? But now, because of the speed up change to Senshu, he gets knockdowns on people who are crouching, which is a really, really big deal. It ups his conversion ability by quite a bit. And I think it just accents how good he is. And there's also like the 5H of how it's big, disjointed, and all his pokes are like pretty low committal, not just in the fact that of the total duration, but the on block situation, because his Rekkas space him out really well. Even though they're minus, the Rekkas space him out really well. He's actually a character that you have to win on defense. Like you can interact with all his stuff, but you know, he's the one who's attacking you. He has the control. He's just neutral god, way too fast, way too many mobility options, too many jumps. Like, he's just on your ass all the time. Mostly the nature of his speed and pokes is why he beats a lot of characters. That's why, like, Axl gets destroyed, Faust gets destroyed. He has the annoying thing where they gave him a bunch of broken shit, and they're like, oh, well, he dies fast, so it's okay. I'm never a fan of that design. Really, really never a fan of that design. But I also think that's the thing that makes learning him annoying or hard for new people, is that he really does get deleted. You know, if you hit him, he has the least HP in the game. So he just explodes on counter hits, explodes for just getting hit. But the truth is, you can't fucking hit him. You can't hit him. If you've ever watched high level Chipp, like high level tournament Chipp, the only thing you should be thinking about other Chipp players is skill issue. Yeah, I have to say it. I mean, May 2, by the way. To be fair, May 2, HC2, the thing you have to say is skill issue. Chipp is fucking ridiculous. He's ridiculous right now. He is so ridiculous, by the way, that if they don't nerf him, I will probably learn Chipp basics, because, like, why the fuck not? He's so crazy. He's so fucking crazy. Okay, last character is the GOAT of all time. It's Leo. We already know he's fucking broken. He's got DP, like broken ass defense, DP, mashing, converts off all his shit, the really good mix-ups. Of course, his offense is interactable, but he also fucking murders you, right? He just fucking murders you. Is there really anything to say about Leo that hasn't been said? I mean, he wins all the shit. He's the GOAT. Do I have to give any? I feel like I would just be saying the same thing. Nothing has actually changed. Like, my opinions have not actually changed about him. He's just the GOAT. He's just the GOAT. The only truly new thing, I can say two things. Technically, he has a weakness. Technically, which is he's not very mobile. So even though his dash is broken as hell, he's not very mobile. He does have to go straight at you. That's a weakness. And the other one was, what was the thing I was thinking about recently? That was like, there's a small thing. Oh, fuck, I forgot it. I forgot. There is the mobility thing, though. There's another thing. There's another thing, but that's, like, the main thing. He's just a GOAT. He's just a GOAT. He's broken as fuck. If you lose with him, it's a skill issue. His dash is broken. But he has to run at you, I guess, so it's fine. And his offense is interactable, boohoo. And his DP's mad good. And he builds a lot of meter. And, I don't know. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. I know right now it's really popular to say Bay's the best, but Leo's the best. Okay, any questions? That's how I'm feeling right now. This is the last tier list I'll make for this patch, because, again, I think Season 3 is going to come out at EVO, basically. And yeah.